For as long as there have been legends, there have been stories about monsters of ice. Nepal has the Yeti, and Westeros the White Walkers. We bring to you now the story of 4 brave ice hunters who risked life and limb to track a monster of such immense strength that its powers of destruction have never been equaled.
It was here, headed north. These marks are fresh, maybe 15, 20,000 years. Signs are all over. We're getting closer. I don't understand. It's more powerful than we ever could have imagined.
We don't know what we're messing with.
Connecticut has direct evidence of 2 past glaciations, though it is confidently thought that the region has experienced several other glacial periods over Earth's history. Because glaciers are such intense erosional agents, the majority of Connecticut's surface and landforms resulted from the most recent glaciation, of the Wisconsin stage, which receded around 20,000 years ago. The section of the Laurentide ice sheet over CT likely advanced from north-northwest to south-southeast, as indicated by striations and abrasions on exposed bedrock outcrops, the longitudinal axes of depositional landforms, like the Horsebarn Hill drumlin, and directions perpendicular to end depositional landforms, like terminal moraines. Energy delivered to the coastline by waves causes the transportation of sand and sediment down and offshore, and drives erosion of exposed bedrock. A typical ocean swells every 10 to 20 seconds, creating around 6,000 waves per day, and between 1 and 3 million waves per year. On rocky coasts, erosion occurs mainly by processes of quarrying and hydraulic wedging, associated with delivered wave power, and abrasion associated with suspended sediment in waves. Regarding coastal erosion, a net effect of redistribution of sand and materials from the coast and suspended load of waves is expected with higher sea levels. Utilizing the Brunn rule, a study done by Zhang et al. In 2004 concluded that although there is little energy supplied by simply raising the water height, the higher water level allows waves to act further up on the beach profile and move sediment seaward.
Out of all of Connecticut's wide variety of landscapes, some of the most famous terrain is seen along the coast. Steep cliffs rising from rocky shorelines and cobbled beaches define much of this region's seaboard. The sculpting of this iconic scenery is attributable to the tremendous erosional forces generated by repeated cycles of advance and retreat of the Laurentide ice sheet. Much of what we see on our beaches is a direct result of the shearing forces and meltwater streams that persisted across the landscape for thousands of years. Evidence of this can be observed in a variety of environments on a wide spectrum of scale, from scratches or striations on individual rock faces to entire stretches of terrain that show signs of glaciation on the scale of several kilometers. Glacial erratics are rocks that are on the boulder-sized order of magnitude that tend to stand out from their surroundings. They were entrained in the flowing ice and may have been transported several hundred miles from their parent rock, grinding and jostling against other rocks and obstacles en route. This causes striations to form that mark the direction of flow, as well as the rounding of sharp corners, the extent of which can lend a clue as to the relative distance the rock traveled. The crumbling cliff faces that line the coast were created by a sheet of ice up to a kilometer thick. The immense shearing force of the relentlessly advancing ice over a steep rock face causes chunks to break off from the higher reaches and either become entrained in the glacier, a process known as quarrying, or tumble down the slope to rest at the bottom. These quarried cliff faces have a crumbling appearance and a pile of rocks at the bottom that are subjected to further erosion by wind, rain, and waves. A terminal moraine, as the name suggests, marks the terminus or farthest reach that glacial ice achieves. As the glacier advances, huge amounts of sediment and debris is scooped up. When the advance of the glacier is halted by warmer climate, an equilibrium is established between advance and retreat and no net movement occurs. All along, streams and rivers that flow through or beneath the glacier deposit massive loads of sediment at the terminus, which accumulates into a mound. Moraines can be harder to spot from ground level, but zoom out a bit and the picture becomes clear. The island archipelago, consisting of Long Island, Fisher's Island, Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, and others extending up to Cape Cod, are all remnants of the network of terminal moraines left behind by the melting ice.
The future of Connecticut's coast does not seem promising. One of the most devastating blows will occur to wetlands. They will be greatly reduced in numbers and increased water level will shift the plant species landward. Connecticut will see a water level increase in gulfs, bays, estuaries, and lagoons. However, the steep shorelines Connecticut contains from previous glacier cycles allow the inlets to have a lower response to tidal change. Therefore, Connecticut will see an increase in shallow bays and a decrease in marshes. However, it is predicted that estuaries will be able to produce material to cause accretion. These drastic changes are results of sea level rise and the disruption of cycles. Primarily caused by anthropogenic sources, Earth has caused an altering of the predicted glacial period. Insolation has increased so drastically as a result of greenhouse gases trapping heat in the atmosphere that the Earth is continuing to warm, inhibiting it to begin a glacial period. As the increase in sea level continues to threaten the shorelines, the coast, these houses, will be severely flooded and the land beneath it eroded. Storm surges will become stronger. A higher sea level will cause an increase in the wave energy and generation on shorelines. What we see now, all over our coast will be washed away. The coast will no longer be as we know it.